everything on your screen, including notification. Well, that's not. I have three choices: screen broadcast, Zoom, start broadcast. I have Zoom checked.
In your share screen?
Mm-hmm.
Is anyone in the meeting on their iPad that could help Wayne with this?
So I'm back to you.
So in the are you in the meeting on your iPad?
I am. I will hit.
Van, could you send Jim Landsberg the meeting link while I'm
Right.
helping Wayne with this?
I have an iPad. When I hit share, I have a whole list of things I can share: screen, photos, iCloud Drive, Google Drive, bookmark, whiteboard.
Thank you. And I hit share, and it brought me to that list of selections, and I hit screen. And not sure where to go after that. So if I can.
What are you trying to share?
I'm trying to get just to the screen on my iPad so that I can open up the app. In the home screen, settings and all your apps. So I hit share, and I hit screen. There is screen broadcast, Zoom checked. Start broadcast. So if I hit screen broadcast, it does nothing.
I don't think Mike Emery is in our meeting this morning.
Yeah.
That's too bad.
Well, so near yet so far.
Any value to turning off your iPad and turning it back on?
Don't have a.
Yeah. The
Hold on a second. I thought I allowed all participants to share screen in the meeting.
I hit the check mark on the line with Zoom. Above it, the screen broadcast red button started flashing, and the little wheel started by the Zoom. So
yeah, that's what I'm seeing. And Jonathan, it says only the host can share.
Yeah. Well, Wayne, for starters, let me make you a co-host and see if you get a different outcome.
Okay, should I back all the way out here?
Yeah.
Okay. Stop share. There we go.
Yeah, try it again now that you're a co-host and see if that changes anything.
Okay, share. Screen. I now have screen broadcast, a circle, a button. The next line is Zoom with a check mark. The line after that says start broadcast.
Well, try it.
Try screen broadcast.
Yep.
Nothing.
All I can say is if we're able to break Zoom, it's really a shame Mike Emery isn't here.
So I hit start broadcast. Got a timer that started 3, 2, 1. Now I have a flashing red button and a swirling circle by Zoom. and
we can see that. We can see
Zoom,
that. We can see that.
Okay. Is there any other button I could hit? I don't
swipe. Wayne, swipe up from your. Oh, there you go.
Okay.
Just swipe up and go to your home screen on your iPad. There you go.
Okay.
Now we're looking at your home screen or lock screen. You can go to your. You can go to the app.
Okay. Let's. No, we can't.
You can't?
Wait a minute. Hold on. Well, now I have you.
You might have better luck if you open PhotoFunia on the iPad and then start the sharing and look for the app.
Okay. Okie dokie. Hold on. Do you see that?
Yes, we sure do.
Somehow the gods are happy. Okay. Here I am in having opened PhotoFunia. Let me just start by saying it's free, and all it requires is you to pick one of over 600 settings, which I'll explain in a minute, and a picture from your library. Over on the left-hand side of the screen, as you face it, are the categories for the possible, all the options that are available. New, popular, favorite, categories, search. Right now I'm in categories, and I selected the Banksy shredder. I'm going to pick a photo. I like it. I'll hit done, and I'll hit go, and it'll just start processing. And in this particular case, this is a good one, the Banksy shredder, because it has motion in it. It takes just a few seconds for it to process. And there it is. And that's what you should do with that picture, is just shred it. And it just keeps repeating itself. And if you like this, up in the right-hand corner is the standard icon to do something with it, which I'll do just to show. And you can either copy it, save the files, edit in Lightroom, and all the other options that are available. So I'm going to close that and close that one.
And you can actually save it to the Files app on the iPad to have access to it on the Mac.
Absolutely. when you save it, it saves to your photo library. So if it's a picture, it's in the pictures. If it's like this one that has motion in it, it'll go in videos or somewhere there in photos for you.
But is it worth $15 million like the original was after you showed it?
Let's see. I'll take another one just to.
So it was, Wayne, was it the particular frame that was a moving thing, or is that something you separately activated?
No, when you select Banksy over here, well, let me go back to the Banksy shredder. You would be in billboards, you went to billboards, and you selected Banksy shredder. This is what will then come up, and you can see exactly what the final product will look like. The picture of the young lady, that is the standard model, if you will, that's in all of them to show, just to demonstrate what will happen. I should also point out that over in the left-hand side there, where you see little thumbnails of all the pictures, a picture may have just a little notation up in the right-hand corner, like the first one, Concrete Jungle, HD. I think that means higher def. It's a better picture than others. It will have the movie camera maybe in it. That just shows that this is, well, as you can see, an effect that can generate an animated image. I'm in billboards. I'm going to go down to City Center. Here, with this picture, when you can choose more than one picture. The app will give you that option. So in this case, I'm going to choose the first picture. I'm going to use an existing photo. I'm going to go to an album I set up for this, and I'm going to take my grandson's picture. And if the picture and the subject don't quite match, you can move them around. This is about the only options you have for editing, is just making sure you got the right placement. So I'm happy with that. I'll hit done. I'm going to choose another picture, hit choose photo on the second one. Take that one. That's ready to go. Done. Now I've chosen two pictures. I'm going to hit go.
Yeah, so the genius of this is not as a photo editor.
Correct.
It's putting an existing photo into so many different things that are really fun.
And that's, you can just go on and on with these things. There are just hundreds of them.
Wayne, this is Van. Before you leave that, just to do what I think is an obvious thing, change the text, and you could put in you could put in your grandson's name or something, or something like that.
I will do that. Thank you. Jack, go. And over to the left, you'll see Jack. And again, if I like that, I'll save the image, or there's a variety of things you can do, as I said before, all over the place. So I'll just hit save image, and theoretically, there it is in my photos. To do with as you will. And once it's here, of course, you can go in and do all the editing and cropping, whatever you'd like to do.
Oh, and in photos now, we know you can also use markup.
Exactly. anything that's available in photos, you can do to this picture as you could to any other.
Wayne, what's the name of the program again?
PhotoFunia. PHOTO capital FUNIA, all one word. And it's in the app stores. And Jonathan and I am embarrassed to say that while we were sitting here talking, I went back on my Mac, which is an M1, pulled up that app, and I read the little statement that it said it's not certified for this OS. But I hit the the little cloud that shows that it's available to be downloaded, and I hit that again, and just kept going and going, and now it works perfectly on my MacBook Pro. So it does work across the board there for as long as it's M1, I guess, and higher.
But as Aaron mentioned, it looks like it's several Mac OSs back. So this is nothing new, being able to run iPad apps on an M1, an M Mac.
I think maybe what happened, Jonathan, I probably looked at this a long time ago. This app has been around, for probably 10 to 15 years. I mean, I've used it. I can't even remember when I started using it. And the last time I looked at it in an app store may have been a long time ago. And when I tried looking at it now, refreshed, I guess I'm up to speed now.
So Wayne, is this an app? I don't think this was an app you had to pay for to download.
It's absolutely.
Are there in-app purchases for it?
No, I think
it runs on ads, maybe?
That's what happened. For a long time, it was just a free app, and I believe it was developed in Finland, if I'm not mistaken. But in any event, I think they reached a point where a decision was made. Either they were going to have to go to subscription, outright purchase, or ads, and they went with the ads. And quite frankly, after you play with this a while, the ads really they're not too intrusive, and better than paying a subscription, or at least for me it is.
Yeah, before we're done today, we'll add a link to PhotoFunia in the App Store in the chat, so it'll be available after the meeting.
I would like to just say I'm going to go back to my photos. I'm out of the app now completely. And I'm going to go over to here and just say that you can take this app, and the nice thing about it is it's a nice launching pad to take you into other things if you're interested in manipulating and further editing the picture. I showed this in the PhotoSig meeting, but this is a painting done by a friend of mine who paints reproductions. And this is Madam X, one of the Madam X pictures of John Singer Sargent. So he gave it to me.
The dishwasher is pretty much full, but the bottom is not.
And so I decided, well,
are you thinking we should run it now?
Yeah, we can see it.
We won't have enough room for dinner depending on what we do if we don't.
All right, go ahead. But I think I already put the soap in the other day. Because I thought, well, it's getting full.
Somebody's got an open mic.
I just muted Diana. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, okay. So anyway, I took that picture and I wanted to send him something back as a thank you. So I thought, well, I'll use PhotoFunia as a start. And so I took that picture and I put it into one of the settings, which is the Louvre Museum. And there it is on the right, the picture hanging up there. So you can see what it would look like, what his work would look like in a museum. So then I thought, well, I have kind of a blank space over on the left-hand side. I wonder if I could take this PhotoFunia image, jump up to Pixelmator Pro, or you could do Photoshop or anything that lets you get into a little bit more advanced situation where you have access to layers. So I looked around and I said, well, I'm going to need a painter and an easel. So I found a picture of this old man painting a picture, obviously, I guess, in Venice. Well, I can start there. So I added him to the picture over in the corner, and I changed the picture on the easel to be the same as the picture on the wall. And then I found a picture of my friend in one of my old albums going back. So I carved him out and I put him on and had him cover the old painter. And I wound up with this composite at the end of him standing there painting a copy of his copy. So.
And so that the adding that was with Pixelmator Pro?
Yes. Yep. Just in about 3 layers added on, just kind of fooling around. It took about an hour or so to do, but I kind of get I enjoy trying to put together composite pictures and editing and trying to get all the, exposures and coloring right. But having this as a start really speeded the process along. So I just throw that in just to say that in addition to just the pictures that you send to your grandson of him on the side of a building, you can take it and use it as a launch pad for some interesting projects. And
so you could probably add something fun to the billboard showing of Jack in his hockey stuff.
Yeah, I rapidly get to the point where my wife threatens to lock the door to the basement and I can't come up.
Yeah, but you should show her. Have you shown her this? This is, it's an amazing compilation that you made, Wayne.
Yeah. So, but that is, I think that's, you can, I just wanted to mention, kind of off the mark completely, that these 2 pictures, me sitting here, if you haven't been to the new White House Visitors Center at the corner of Pennsylvania and 17th Street, it's worth going to. There's one of the things, it's a free exhibit run by the White House Visitors Association in cooperation with the National Park Service. It's totally free. It's a small museum devoted to the history of the White House, obviously. And it takes about 2 hours to go through. And one of the exhibits there is an exact replica of the Oval Office. And you can line up and have somebody take your picture sitting at the desk. And like PhotoFunia, if you go to another exhibit, you can stand in certain locations and have your picture taken in front of various settings in the White House. This was my wife and I looking out at the crowds at the Easter egg roll, but there are other scenes available for you to have your picture taken in front of. And again, very entertaining.
Wayne, can you go back to the previous one? What's happening with the pictures of the tree limbs outside that are reflected onto the glass of the desk?
That's a good question.
So is that a real background or is that a fake background?
No, it's a fake background. The room, and when you go into it, it's really a fascinating room. It's down to the inch, exact replica, terms of all measurements, what's on the bookcases and what have you, the books. And if you want, a very popular thing was in the front of the desk, there's that opening that when Kennedy was president, his son was peeking out of. That was a picture that got a lot of play in the newspapers.
Looks like a TV screen. It's got a little pixelation in it, as you can see.
Yeah, I think so.
In the background on the desk.
May have picked up, a double reflection from something else, but it's an interesting, very interesting.
That was there. That was there. That's an interesting place to go.
Yeah, it was interesting. It's a timed entry exhibit, if you will. However, and so you go online to get tickets, but the tickets are free and you put in your time. And when we went there, it was not overly crowded, but once the tourist season starts, who knows? I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure it is now reopened. They made a point. We were there in the late fall, and they were making a point to tell visitors that when an administration changes, they close the museum for a period of time to refurbish everything to, I don't know exactly how to say this nicely, but out with the old, in with the new, and make it reflective of who the current president is. Having said that, I think it's now open again, and I have not been there, so I can't.
The best exhibit in my mind in that museum is sitting in on cabinet meetings when important decisions were made. You have 4 different cabinet sessions for 4 different key things, like the Cuban Missile Crisis and other things, and you hear what each cabinet member recommended the president to do, and then of course, what the president did do, and then you can vote, if you were president, which cabinet member's recommendation you would follow. It's a fabulous part of that museum. I think the most interesting part are those 4 cabinet sessions.
Exactly. I didn't mean to get too far off the tack, but I did want to bring that up for those who haven't been there. It is an absolutely, it's well worth your time to visit.
It's about a 2-hour. It's about a 2-hour visit, and it's one of the best 2 hours you're going to spend in DC.
Exactly. It's exactly. I meant to say that too. That you need 2 hours. It doesn't take much more than that, but give yourself 2 hours to really enjoy it. So that's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Wayne. Does anyone have questions about PhotoFunia or using it? While you're thinking about that, if you want to stop your share, Wayne,
okay.
I'll quickly show just one picture that I made using PhotoFunia.
I'm trying desperately to stop my share.
I just
Did you stop?
it.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you. There. Are we good? Oh, there we go.
Yeah, I just wanted to show this just one photo, and this was just using one of the PhotoFunia, rustic scenes thing. And what I did was just pop into it a wedding photo from our daughter's wedding a year and a half ago, and I sent this to our son-in-law, so he liked this. That's all. So it really can do a lot of fun things. And Wayne, thanks so much for showing us that.
Would you want to take us through what you did to get that picture?
Alan, please raise your hand, okay? Please.
All right, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so if Alan, I think you had something to say, so please do.
All right, I'm sorry. I burst in without raising my hand. I'm wondering if you could take us through what you did to get to that final picture.
I think I would prefer to do that maybe at a photo sig meeting, just to make sure that I don't forget something as I go along. It is not that difficult, but nonetheless, I do follow a procedure and I don't want to leave out any of the steps for anybody. And it's probably, if you're not interested in doing this, it would take a little bit of time. So I'm going to defer on that for right now. Thank you.
Okay.
Well, I think if you're using PhotoFunia, before you do that, first think about which of your photos you want to immerse in that.
Good point.
Because it helps to do that, and you can and then in your Photos app, label them favorites, and then with PhotoFunia, it's easier to look at the collection of favorites and choose the one that you've earmarked. Let's go next to Ginger and then Van.
It would be very funny if we had a meeting where everybody had a crazy picture for up on their screen. So you had this whole screen of crazy pictures. Anyway, that's my thought. Thank you very much for the presentation.
That's a good one.
Let's do that at another, like a clubhouse or another meeting. That's a great idea, Ginger. Van, go ahead.
Thanks, Wayne. Appreciate that. I'm just in response to Alan's comment. He was talking about the final picture, I think. So my sense is, I believe that might be more of a Pixelmator Pro demonstration,
exactly,
than photos or PhotoFunia, which could be very educational, but would also take some time to prepare and also to do.
Yeah, what I thought was interesting about it is Wayne explained, Alan, that using PhotoFunia advanced the project that he was showing of the museum thing a lot, so that it made it much easier with the Pixelmator Pro part of to include that other figure on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
But PhotoFunia's ability to easily immerse a photo of yours in a museum scene like that,
Mm-hmm.
or the rustic scene that I chose, is something that actually you can do all in Pixelmator Pro, but it's much harder to. Oh, Sam Knutson is off for his airplane show, and we know that there'll be great photos from that. Thanks, Sam. Alan Weinstein, back to you.
Okay. How many different scenes are there in PhotoFunia? I mean, we had the museum scene, you had the one that you had. How many different scenes are there?
Alan, did you see along the left when Wayne was showing the PhotoFunia app that was all of them? There were dozens.
No, there's over 600.
Oh, wow.
There are several that in addition to picture setting, instead of adding your own picture, you just add text to a sign. There are a bunch of sign options too. Mm-hmm. That if you, it's like in a beach setting with arrows that you can point to whatever destination you want to put in, or add, headlines, whatever but roughly all told, I think there's 642.
Wow, that's quite a lot.
So you see, Alan, I'm scrolling down all of the different categories.
Yes, I see. Wow.
And that's just in one. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, wow.
So you can see like beach
sign. How about that?
Go. And there you add your text. Hit go.
Somebody put a lot of work into this app.
Yeah.
Go.
What's nice is it also has different things for different holidays.
Jonathan?
Yes?
Hit the go button underneath where you put the text in. There you go.
Jonathan, are you doing this on an iPad or your computer?
No, I'm using it on the Mac, opening the PhotoFunia in the way that Wayne finally realized he could too. So this is, again, to remind everybody who might have come a little later, I am opening an iPad app called PhotoFunia on my Mac because I can do that. Alan, go ahead.
No, I don't have any question. I should have put my hand down.
Okay, I think Van, yes. Yes, Van?
Could you go back to that where you were real fast and do a quick share there?
Yeah.
I mean, there was some interest. There was some interest in the categories, and can you get back to that the main screen that Wayne started with, the one that had the sidebar and then another sidebar next to it? Just
this one?
Yeah, click categories over there on the left. That's what I'd seen earlier. So there you go. That was what Wayne was talking about at the top, 622. But there's the various categories in which you can find things, which I thought people, if there's interest in what categories, there they are. And then within each one, you have choices.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I'd forgotten to go back a layer. But one thing as I'm scrolling along this, look, it's the categories on the left and the number of alternatives is along the right. So if you click on posters, this is how many there are. Yeah, so it's an amazingly full-featured choice of stuff. And I fully endorse the idea that for a meeting coming up, we'll ask everyone to use PhotoFunia to do a funny picture of theirs and put it in your Zoom profile, and see how that works. It looks like you can also, in using the app, set up favorites. And here's popular. Now I wonder what new does. Oh, new is just to start start something.
Right. I think it's showing you the new templates that they have.
Right. I wonder why is, what do you think lab means? It doesn't mean, huh. Hmm. Dan, go ahead.
I'm not sure what it means in this context, but oftentimes it just means things that they're working on and under development or something.
Hmm. Okay. Why don't I close this share? And thanks so much, Wayne. That was great. Why don't we move to Image Playground that we've done before, but is always fun to return to. Van, do you want to do a little Image Playground for us?
I have a few things to share here. If you
Oh, great.
give me 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is, hopefully you can see my desktop, which is mostly just blue. A vast expanse of blue. Image Playground is a relatively new app from Apple, and it's a separate app that you can that you either have installed or you can download. I think depending on what operating system you're using, and you can create a variety of of non-photorealistic, but entertaining images that then you can use. So if you want to, and you could even create an image that you could use for that meeting Jonathan was talking about, where you wanted to use this as your Zoom avatar or something like that. So I'm doing this demo on the my Mac, but the app is available on iPhone and iPad as well. The capabilities are the same. The user interface, of course, would be somewhat different, but this is on the Mac. So I'm going to load Image Playground here, bring it in. And this is where you are if you want to start a new image in an Image Playground. Let me just take it to full screen, see if that doesn't hurt anything, a little less distracting. So this is where you are if you want to start a new image in Image Playground. I'll just take a quick step back. In the upper left-hand corner, there's an arrow. If I click that, it takes me to my file, my saved images. So there's an example of saved images that I've created in Image Playground. In the bottom center, there's a plus symbol. If I click that, that's how I start a new image. So there's various things you can do here. And you just start by typing a description. One of the things you can do is you can start by just typing a description. Before I do that, I'll just show you some backgrounds. I don't really tend to start with these backgrounds necessarily, but you can click one down at the bottom. There's a item that says birthday. If you click that, then it adds a birthday theme up here and creates an image, and I can scroll through them, for birthday related images. If I get rid of the birthday, I could go to winter holiday, and I get some images generated that might be appropriate for that. I tend to start out with something that I would just want to do. So just to show you how this can work, down here at the bottom center of the screen, there's a text field and it says describe an image. So I'm going to just type the word cactus and hit enter. So now I have some animated style images of a cactus. And I have 3 or 4 of those. If I click through those and want to see another one, I can just keep going. And it will create, as I get to the last one, it'll create another one that I can click to. So I can just use the arrows and go back and look and see what I might be interested in terms of a cactus. So now, if I like this particular one, I can simply, if I click it, you can see that cactus is up here as the keyword or the description that I've used. If I go down to the bottom center again, I can add some text. I can say, for example, in desert. So I can add the in desert prompt to the cactus prompt, and the image that I've chosen changes slightly to show the cactus in the desert. Just a quick example of the difference between what they call an animated version and an illustrated version. This is a style called animation. And again, the last time I did a demo of this, people were saying, well, I want realistic stuff. Well, I understand that. This is not it. Image Playground is not about photorealistic or photorealism. It's about these animated and illustrated images. And if that's what you find some use for, then that's what this is about.
It's playground.
It's a playground. There's lots of stuff out there for from Photoshop on down to create photorealistic images and work on those, or other there are a lot of other AI products that'll create that. This is an animated style. If I go down to the bottom right, toward the bottom right, there's a button there that says style, and right now it says animation. If I click that button, I can switch between animated version and the illustrated. So I'm going to click illustrated. Now it takes the same image and it does it more as an illustration rather than an animated look. So that's the sort of the basic difference between the two. I find that I don't really care for the illustrations as much. I tend to prefer the animated ones myself. I'm going to click animated again, and so I go back. So here I have a cactus in the desert. Now I can go down to the description below, and I can type, I'm going to type with scorpion. And I'm going to hit enter, and we'll see what happens. So now I've got a cactus in the desert with a scorpion. And I can scroll to the right, and I have just some slight variants of that. It's actually not a bad scorpion in that one. And so you can go back and forth and choose the image that you want. The result, when you get, okay, I'm going to now click on the image itself. And at this point, it shows you the various prompts that are up there. It shows you that there are 3 prompts: cactus, in desert, and with scorpion. If I click on the image again, it brings it back up. Now, what you've got here is you've got an item that will be saved if you choose to save it in your images playground. But you can also click the 3 dots in the upper right-hand corner of the image, and you can copy this, and you can copy and paste it wherever you could paste an image. You could share it using the share sheet, or you could save it. And for border concern, if you're concerned about what the image playground produced. But I'm going to click copy here, and then I'm going to move over and minimize that. I'm going to bring up a blank pages document. So I'm going to go down here in Pages, and I'm going to hit Control V. And now I've taken this copy and I've placed it in a Pages document. And from that point, I can move it around, resize it, do whatever I want with it. You could put this image in a mail message, or you could send it, attach it to a text message, or do whatever you could want it to do with a standard image. So that's available to you. Now, if you want to keep going, you can keep going on this. And Alan, did you have a question?
Can you put it in your photo library?
I think you can. Well, the answer is yes, because you can. I'll show you what happens in a minute here. There may be even a direct way to do this, but one way you can do it is you can go back with the arrow, the upper left arrow here. This takes you to your, whoops. I lied. Wait a minute. Okay, I just lost it. That's what happens when you go off script.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to try to type it in one prompt and see what happens. Cactus and desert with scorpion as one prompt. So I got something slightly different, but not exactly the same, but not exactly, totally different either. So what I'm going to do at this point, Alan, is I'm going to click done on the upper right-hand corner.
Okay.
At that point, if I go to the left arrow in the upper left-hand corner of the window, this item is now in my image playground.
Okay.
At that point, it's an image. I can drag it out to my desktop, which I just did. I can right-click it, share it. I can copy it and paste and import it into my photos. I don't know if I share directly into photos or not. Let me look and see. Yeah, I can add to photos using the share. So I can if I add to photos, it should add that to my photos library. But it's just a standard image.
Got it.
Yeah. So Alan, the simple answer is sharing from Image Playground gives you an option to share it to your photos. And Andy, you're next. Go ahead. Andy? Those are a lot of bristles that in your picture, Van, that I think probably reminds anyone who's ever unknowingly trod on a cactus what that experience can be.
Yes. If you come back into the image playground from an image you saved, up in the upper right-hand corner, there's an edit button. So if you click edit, now you're back in the same situation you were before, where you were just editing an image. And then you can take this in strange directions. You can add something like with baseball cap. Now, I don't know why you would want to add those words to this particular prompt, but you could do that. Now there you go. So now you have a cactus in the desert with a scorpion wearing a baseball cap. And there's another one. Oh, there's a baseball cap that looks like has a scorpion's tail on it. So things get a little weirder here. Anyway, these are just various interesting, fun kind of things you can do. Now, this is all starting from a prompt like I just showed you. If I go back to the image playground and start another image, I can come back here. You can also start not from just a prompt, but you can start from a photo. So I'm going to go to the bottom right-hand corner here. There's a little photo image in the very bottom right. I'm going to click that. I could take a photo, but I'm going to choose a photo from a favorites folder that I created. And I'm going to choose, I have a photo of a little boardwalk going out overlooking some water that I took several weeks ago. And this is a photo that's in my photos library. I'm going to choose that, and I'm going to bring that photo into the image playground. And so it took the photo and it created this animated version evocative of that photo. Not exactly like it or anything, but it's similar, and get the idea. I can scroll, and I have some slightly different versions of the image that it created. Then with this, having this photo that I started with, it created this. I can then add a prompt to it. I could say with boats, and I could add that to the prompt. And now we should have an illustration that comes up, or an animation. Well, there's a boat over there, okay, to the right. And if I do this, well, there's a couple more boats. So let's say I like that one. That's not bad. I have something that started out with this photo that I took and has now become this image. And then I can just maybe add one more prompt, and I'll say at night. Now we have 3 prompts, or one of them started with the boat that the photo that I gave it. And there you go. Now you have the similar scene with boats and the water and the boardwalk at night. And we have various choices that we could choose there. Whether we get the moon showing there, that might be a good one, and a boat tied up nearby. So maybe we could use that one. And if we do, I can just say done. And that's now saved to my playground image library. The last thing I wanted to show you was something about people and what it would be. Jonathan, before I do that.
Yes, 2 quick things. The first is it the way, and Aaron says this is using a local generative diffusion model, but is it the way that this app does not depict any photorealistic thing, either in people or in scenes, that makes it resistant to deep fakes, as he says?
From what I've read and heard people talk about, this appears to be an entertaining and in some cases useful and fun application, but it doesn't have the risks associated with photorealism or deep fakes or even doing things to images and photos of real people and that sort of thing. For example, I'll mention something about that in just a second when I show you the people side of it. Was there another question before I start with a photo of a person, Alan?
Alan, did you have something?
Yes, I was wondering, can you undo any specific step if like, can you go from that nighttime one? Can you undo and get back to the daytime one? Can you undo an action?
Well, the answer is yes. Now, one of the things that I'm not so sure that you can count on, well, it depends. If you just carefully walk back, you can probably do that. If you try to do the same thing, start over and do the same kind of image with the same prompts, you might get something slightly different. So you better save the item and then work back that way if you want to do that. But here's how you would do that. Here's the image that I've got. I'm going to left click right on the image. So now, I don't know if you can read it, but there are 3 prompts around this image. The one in the upper right is the photo that I actually brought in from my Photos app, from the Photos app. I have a prompt that says with boats, and I have a prompt that says at night. If there's a minus sign, so I can remove any of these prompts. So if I click the minus sign next to the at night, that prompt goes away and it regenerates the item, or it regenerates a series of items. So now I'm back in a non-night mode, if you will. Now, quite honestly, I don't remember whether that was exactly the image that I had before or whether it's a regenerated one that's somewhat different. So I have not played with it enough to know how undo works in that regard, as to whether it would bring you right back to the prior image or whether it would generate a new image that would be without, not at night.
Yeah, this
But I
local
could save
generative
it.
diffusion model seems to defy ordinary iteration things, Alan.
Well, it's like if you ask a Chat GPT or other large language model, if you get the same prompt multiple times, you get different answers. So I think the same thing was likely to happen here. I just don't know how it works, Alan, with a specific undo. But you could easily play with it and see.
Got it. Thank you.
My guess is it might be different because notice here that below this image there are 4 dots. This is the first one, and I can scroll and I get some more choices. It's always giving me choices. Oh, I sort of like that. The boardwalk goes to the right there a little bit. That's sort of fun. But as I get to the last one, then it generates a new one. Well, there's a new one. So I'm sort of taking this thing step by step until I find something that I'm particularly interested in or that might work for me. And once I'm there, once I've got something that I think I might want to save, I just click done and it's saved to the image playground library, as it were. So I'm going to click done on that item. It gives me a choice as to whether I want to save that separate or overwrite the item that I edited. So I'm going to save this one as a duplicate so as not to overwrite the other image. Okay, so again, I'd like to show you then what to do with people here. That is sort of interesting, or could be. Go back to the playground, and there's the 2 images that I saved in the upper left. And I can go into either one of those and edit and keep going. I'm going to click the plus symbol in the bottom center. And now at this point, I'm going to get back to favorites again. So I'm going to go in the lower right-hand corner. There's a little photos icon. I'm going to left click that. I'm going to click choose photo. And at this point, I'm going to show you something that won't work, I hope, because it'll prove a point, perhaps. Here's a photo of my wife on that very boardwalk that I just showed you. So I'm going to click that picture. Now, it brought it into the image playground and it says unable to use that description. So I got an error message, as it were, saying I can't use this photo as a starting point for what you're looking for anything you want to do. I'm not 100% sure that I know why that's the case. I think it's because she's in the photo. And this is not she's not tagged in my photos or anything like that. It doesn't know who that is. It might be a stranger, it might be somebody I took a photo of. It might be an entertainer or a politician or somebody. It's saying I can't do anything with this. So all I can do is undo it and start over and choose another photo. Here's another thing that happens if you try to use it. I'm going to go back to choose a photo. Going to go to the favorites. I'm going to choose this photo of me. And it's going to say, here I am, but I'm just standing in a background, and it's a photo of me from my waist up, with just a neutral background. And it says, try a photo with face more in view. So there was too much of my body and not enough of my face. It tends not to do bodies, but it tends to do faces. So my only choice there is to undo. Now, if I go back to photos and choose a photo, I can choose another photo of me. And this is one that was taken down at the tidal basin, I don't know, a year or so ago at the cherry blossoms. So it brings a photo of me in, and it creates an animated version of me. And I have different choices of it there. But it's created these versions from that photo that I gave it. And so that's where it's developed these images. And so I can leave that alone. I can choose an image that I might like there. Let's go back. Let's choose that one. Now, let's choose this one. And let me add the prompt.
Try cherry blossoms, Van.
Yep, that's where I'm going.
Great.
Cherry blossoms background. So I'll add that as a prompt. So there you go. So now it's taken the image and it's added cherry blossoms background to it. And again, this image, which is in the animated style, came from that photo that I gave it to start with. And again, there are different choices here. I can scroll through and get different kind of images that I might be interested in. But again, this is starting from a person. And I wanted to show you that you couldn't, if you choose somebody it doesn't recognize, then it has a problem. If it's not enough of a face that it can work with, that's a problem. It doesn't do full body images of people. It's more like what you're seeing here. In fact, I took one of these. I don't need to save. Well, I can save it. It won't hurt anything. But I took one of these that I created somewhere along the way. I think I used this. I'm not sure I even saved it. I think I used this one and put that into Apple as my contact poster and shared it on iMessages and that kind of stuff. So you can put these things into your contacts, or you could create. I created an item with my wife that I liked, but she didn't. And I thought, okay, that's cool. That's evocative of her. It's not a photo of her, but it's evocative. And so I actually made that my contact photo for her in my contacts. And it was just a fun thing to play with. Michael?
Does it know famous people or places, like you could say with Elvis Presley or at the White House? Or
I think it probably would. Well, I don't know. White House. I don't know. We could try it. It's if you started. I don't know. We could just add this. We could just edit this one and see what we do. We could add a prompt, or we could say at the White House and see what it does. Oh, I already had a prompt there that I was in a forest. So I'm going to remove the forest prompt and just leave the photo and say at the White House. So look, it put it dressed me up. So now I have a coat and tie, which is I guess that would be befitting of my visit to the White House. So it put it in the background there. You're not going to have any luck with famous people because I think that's what, well, I don't think you're going to have any luck with that. We could try it. What would you type in there? I don't know.
Sitting at the resolution desk.
No, that's
try with Elvis Presley.
This is so much fun, Van. Thanks for
It's
sharing.
okay. I'm going to take out the White House prompt and just say, start with my photo and say with Elvis Presley and see if it can actually do anything. I'm thinking that when you start talking about real people, it gets, you're wandering into an area that Apple hasn't wanted to go yet. Maybe it's trying to make me look like some version of Elvis Presley. Oh my gosh, that's horrible. Okay, well,
I think there doesn't seem to be a way to do it. What happens if you try to put a group photo into Image Playground, Van? Have you tried that?
I don't think I have, but I don't think it'll work. I think it's not gonna. I don't know. Maybe I could find one. Let me go back and come. Whoops. Go back and start over again. I don't know what I've got around that I could use here.
If you choose people in photos, it will show you group photos.
I know you're always taking me out of the folder that had used to prepare for this, and you never know what you're going to see. You know, you're all right. There's a group of 4 people. Try a photo with face more in view is the message I got.
So it's not there yet. Okay.
I think that my guess is that might be what you would get even with perhaps 2 people. I don't know oh, there you go. That's well, no. I took a picture of Anne and myself, a group, and it grabbed Anne out of the picture. It did not. It cut me out. It did not work. So I think that is an non-scientific answer to your question. Groups aren't where it's working now. But again, it's image playgrounds are fun, I think, to play with a little bit. Sometimes what I've done is I've used these every so often in text messages. So sometimes you can do it with a Genmoji right from within text. Other times you can just go to your image playground. Yeah, we had a text message of somebody that just graduated from high school and he talked about his college, moving on to college and so forth. So I created some images here that were, again, based on a photo of him. You wouldn't, I recognize who he is because I know him. You wouldn't recognize who he is. And I just took this and just copied it and pasted it into a text message, a congratulatory text message that I sent. So that's one way you can use it. And so you can also, so back to the thing that started it all with Ginger's comment, you could use PhotoFunia to put yourself in in some place, or you could use Image Playground and a photo of yourself and work on that a little bit, and you could copy that and use that for your Zoom still avatar when you don't have video on. So that's a quick look at another quick look at Image Playground, and it'll get better and better. I think I think the issue that Jonathan mentioned is an important one. Apple's trying to give something here that's fun, that's useful, but that's not risky. In other words, the opportunities for AIs to hallucinate and get things wrong and wander into areas where you wouldn't want them to go, that's still pretty common. So I think what we're seeing here is an interesting approach to this that's establishing what Apple wants as a series of guardrails keep this generally in a safe, what they would consider a safe area, and not wander too far afield. You may or may not be able to see the wording at the bottom of the image playground screen. It says beta. Image playground may create unexpected results. So Apple still considers this app in beta version, and they're warning that you may get unexpected results just because they know that you very well might, because they really can't tell in advance what's going to be created. It all stems from the prompts and the local generation of the image and whatever gets automatically created. Diana?
Okay,
Go ahead, Diana.
I was wondering if an image of a person's face could be taken and the person made to look older or younger with this program. Like, take a kid, like your high school graduate, and see what he would look like at age 45 or something like that. Can it do that?
I don't know. I played with that one time. I'm not sure what I really
What you got?
I'm not sure what I got. I think I tried to age my wife, and then whatever I got, I didn't show her.
That's safer.
But no, my guess is, Diane, I don't know the answer. We could try it. My guess is that it would there are programs out there that are custom designed to do that sort of thing. And they try to do it with the actual image of the person. And so you're dealing with the photo and the actual image, and not this animated or illustrative kind of thing. My guess is that would be better. Those products would be better. I can just start with my face here again, and we could see if we could.
What made me wonder about it was the Elvis Presley thing, because it changed your hair.
Yeah, I see there. I just brought my picture in again, and it put this little hair thing on it. I mean, I don't. If I had that much hair, I wouldn't want it up there actually, but that's all right. So here I am. So I guess what prompt would we add here to me? I'm already old enough.
No, say younger.
Yeah, try younger.
Much younger. I added a prompt. Nope.
Doesn't seem to do anything, does it?
Well, it's saying you're hopeless. Don't. Yeah.
Can you try, like, say aged 10 or something? I don't know.
Well, you can type anything.
Teenager.
Oh, okay. As teenager.
I don't think it did it.
Doesn't seem. I think that may be the answer to your question.
Okay.
No.
You can do things around that are, yeah, you can't. It doesn't look like it's doing that. I actually, you can maybe put things around the image that might take you to a different place. Here I put myself in with a helmet and motorcycle leathers, so that I'm still the same age.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, well,
Alan,
that's it.
Alan, you're next.
I'm wondering, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I have about a 3-year-old M2 MacBook, and I'm wondering if any of these programs will work on a machine of that vintage, or do you have to have a much more modern machine?
I think this requires an M series. I think it requires an M series Mac
Well, I have an M2.
or
That's good enough.
I think so. I think it's any. Well, I'm running this on a Mac Studio, but it's the original Mac Studio that they came out with, which was an M1. So it's a sort of a powerful machine, but it's an M1 chip. So I think if it's a Mac or an iPad, it's got to be M series.
Okay.
And then the operating system, of course, has to be able to be current version of the operating system, I guess. I believe that's correct.
Right. Got it. Okay.
It won't work. It won't work on I don't think this works on an Intel device.
But it would work on any M1 device. It doesn't
I
have
think
4 or an M, whatever the current M is.
I think so.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. There you go. Any other questions before I stop sharing?
I was thinking, Van, as you were showing this, that there's a good and a bad that this is all on machine processing, that it doesn't seem to do much with current events. I put March Madness into my image playground, and there was nothing distinctive about, this year's. So it seems to be good for timeless themes,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that would make sense, I guess. Being on device, whether Apple would let this wander off, like with their other AI stuff that they're dipping their toe in the water in, they'll let you go out and inquire of Chat GPT and that kind of thing. Not from Image Playground, but from other areas of Apple Intelligence. And I guess it's theoretically possible that they could branch out and let some of this processing be done at a later date on Apple's private cloud compute servers or some other place. I don't know.
So can you go to the show more so we can look at other categories?
Sure. Adventure, birthday, disco, fantasy, fireworks, love, starry night, summer, party, winter holiday, sci-fi, sunset, artist, robot, astronaut, royalty, chef, scientist, farmer, superhero, hiker, mage, race car driver, vampire.
Vampire.
Whoa, there we go. Well, okay. Well, I guess we got to do that one. We can do, all right, hold on here. We'll do may as well check that one out while we're here. Where did it go? I can just type it in probably. Vampire. There it is. Okay. There's one. Yeah, I know. I didn't get. Well, we'll see. I don't know. Nope. Boy, it really likes that hairstyle. Yeah, it can't. It's limited as to what it's doing to the actual face itself. Once it generates it, everything else seems to be surrounding
second to that
additions. Yeah. So you get the yeah, that seems to be what happens. Hair notwithstanding.
Alan, did you have another question or comment?
I have another question. I'm trying to download this image playground app, and when I tap on any one of the things in the chat window, I don't see how to download it. I get all kinds of information on how to use it, but I don't know how to download it.
What you're on a Mac at this point?
Well, actually, I'm on a phone, but I would be using a Mac if I was doing it. Do I have to go to the App Store and find the Image Playground app and download it that way, or is there a direct link to download it like there was for the photo, the other one?
This is an Apple app. I think if Aaron is on the call, he would know right away. I think this came with Sequoia, and it's just. I think it was an app. I don't. I can't remember.
You're right. That's
okay.
correct. Yeah, it came with Mac OS 15.2 or iOS, iPadOS 18.2. So as long as you have the .2 or newer version, it'll be in your applications folder.
Got it.
No download needed.
Got it. Thank you.
And in fact, the Image Playground app in the Mac App Store is something different.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's a good app, but that's not this one. Okay.
Dan, thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I found this meeting really very informative. Thank you for both of these programs. Very interesting.
Appreciate it, Alan.
Not everybody, again, these are things that, some people find these things amazing and interesting. Others, it's not for them, and it's just an unnecessary, triviality or something. So, that's the way it is with all of these kind of things. They don't hit everybody the same way. And I don't spend a lot of time with AI stuff and all of that. And I don't spend a lot of time in Image Playground. But I do have it in the back of my head. And so when I get something and I hear something about a graduation or something like that, maybe I can create something that's unique, because that image that I created in the animated form of that guy that's graduating from high school, that was never created before. It didn't exist. No one else is going to send him one of those. And so it's just it's something a little bit different. It's like Wayne was talking about. Here's something I can send to someone that's unique. It's different. It's just for them. And so I don't use it a lot, but just knowing it's there and knowing how easy it is to create the item and copy and paste it in makes it sort of fun.
Oh, Alan, were you able to find the app in your Mac App Store, in your Mac app applications?
I haven't looked. I really don't have time right now, but it's on my list of things to do. I'm sure it's there.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Thank you.
Oh, so I also wanted to let people know that yesterday we traded in our old hybrid car for an EV. And so we now have an EV in our driveway. It's a Hyundai Ioniq EV. So right now, I have two different ways of getting to maps and navigation on this car. One is it is CarPlay enabled. So I finally have a car with CarPlay. At the same time, the Hyundai app has its own navigation, so I can use that too. I don't think, is Larry in our meeting still? I think he might have left, Larry Kirschberg. Larry is the big Tesla fan. So I'll have to let him know that we didn't opt for a Tesla this time. But I wouldn't rule it out for the future, because it really was incredible technology when we touched it. Ginger, go ahead.
Yeah, is anyone interested in doing a CarPlay Starlink demo I, I have not. We just kind of go with whatever's on the screen. And it would be nice to kind of go through some of those features, but I know all cars are different, so not everybody's interested in the same thing. But it's important for all of us to know something about these things. So if there's something that would suit us all, that would be great.
It's interesting that you raised that because we had long wanted to find, in all the car dealers in the metro area, finding one that had somebody who was really CarPlay savvy, and that hasn't gone so well. So for one of us to do it, it would mean we'd be in our car for the meeting. Van, go ahead.
That's the kind of thing I was going to mention. I was looking at a podcast 2 years ago or more, and they thought that what they would try to do is do some CarPlay demos. This is a video podcast, and they never did get it totally off the ground, Ginger. What they were trying to do is figure out a way to have CarPlay running on some sort of unit in their studio that wasn't a car. How do you actually demo something like that? And they never did figure it out, as near as I could tell. It was a complicated process. So the best we could do, I guess we could, I don't know, you'd hold up a phone to a screen, and there may be some things we could do if you were willing to put up with less than stellar production values.
I'm not choosy.
You could join the meeting on an iPad and sit in the car and demo CarPlay with the iPad camera facing not at you, but facing the screen, I suppose.
Yeah, that's what I said. It wouldn't be great. It wouldn't be great production, but it might work. I wondered if there was, I don't think there's a Zoom app in CarPlay. And if there was, what would I do with it? I don't know. There's various apps you can install on your CarPlay if you choose to do that. And I don't know that Zoom would be one of those, even how that would work. Is it?
Yep.
Oh, okay. How would it work? What do I do with it? I don't even know.
You can join the audio for meetings.
It would be a dangerous thing to be on Zoom while you're driving a car.
There's no video. It's just the audio.
Audio only. Yeah, there'd be no way to.
No different than a phone call.
There's no way to share your screen either, I suppose. That would be too much to ask. Okay. Yeah. Well, the audio Zoom call, that makes sense, I guess. Yeah. I was thinking about it in terms of video, but you're right, Aaron. That makes sense. No different than being on any other phone call.
Yeah, right.
I don't know, Ginger. That may be we'll have to see. Everybody's CarPlay setup will be just a little bit different, but I think you probably got Jonathan intrigued. I'll bet he's going to go out and check that CarPlay screen and see what he might come up with.
Alan Kent, go ahead.
Yeah, just looking at my iPad, news popped up. iOS 18.4 includes a CarPlay upgrade that users have wanted forever. Apple released the first beta of 18.4 last week. Alongside more Apple Intelligence features, the company has also added interesting tweak that CarPlay users might love. They don't tell me what it is, though. So something's coming that some people will enjoy.
So what's coming is it lets, if your screen is big enough, you can have 3 rows of icons instead of 2.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
whoopee.
Yeah. Okay. See, this is what I said. Not everybody's as thrilled with every enhancement as other people are.
Well, my to-do list with the new car is just keeps growing. Yes.
One of the things I used just the other day, there's just so many nice things about CarPlay, I think, but one of the things I used the other day was we were heading down and meeting some people, and we were going several places, and we were going down to DC, which I don't do very often, and let alone drive there. And so there were several addresses that I wanted to have, and I pulled the Maps app up on my Mac and just found the locations, and I pinned them all to the Maps app, and I went out to the car, and there they were pinned right into the CarPlay already. So all the work was done and finding the locations and all of that on the Mac, where I didn't have to go out and sit in the car to do that. But when I took my phone out to the car, all the destinations were already pinned to the app.
So Van, I'm not sure about pinned in this instance. So if I use Apple Maps to navigate to a place, and then I get in the car and turn on CarPlay, will the Maps app automatically have it, or is there something else I have to do?
My experience is that I don't know enough about it to give a definitive answer, but generally speaking, it'll show up in CarPlay. It might be under recents, or it might be in your destination list if you haven't put a bunch of other stuff in there. I'm not 100% sure how all of that interacts. And pinning is simply something you could do in the Maps app with that item. So on your Mac, you can just find that destination. You can either right click it or bring it up in the Maps window and right click it, and you can pin it, and it goes to the top of your list of destinations on your Mac. And there's a separate category in the CarPlay app, or a separate button you can hit for your pinned items, and it shows all of those. But generally speaking, places you've been, and your recent history and addresses you've entered and all that, they're in the destination list on your car, in CarPlay. You can tell
Alan. Sorry,
Jonathan, you can tell whether they're going to be there because you just look at your phone. It's going to mimic your phone.
I see. Alan, go ahead.
Okay, well, what I found is if I have something in my calendar that says at 10 o'clock I have an appointment with my dentist, it knows that I have a dentist in my directory. It knows the address, and it automatically brings up on the CarPlay. Do you want to go to Dr. Dentist? And it gives me. I click on it. It gives me the directions. I find that's neat. A week, 2 weeks ago, I put it in the calendar, but I don't have to worry about it when I'm in the car. It just does it for me.
Wow.
Yeah, oddly, the only at all disappointing thing about this Ionic is that the keys to it are an old Hyundai remote. And it's like they haven't gotten around to upgrading the key fob to this car yet. So it looks much older than everything else about the car. Anyway. Folks, why don't we close down our meeting now? I have an errand with my spouse who wants to be acculturated to the new car for that. And thanks everybody for coming today. And we'll send around the chat and a recap. Oh, Aaron says the Ionic supports digital key too, allowing to use your phone or Apple Watch as a car key. Okay, I'll definitely do that. Thanks, Aaron.
What model do you have?
It's a 2025 Ionic 5.
Oh, okay. It is that, the 5. Okay.
Yeah, it's interesting. The quick story, Van, is that the Ionic 6s don't have the Tesla NACS charging port. And in the current environment, I was not going to buy a non-Tesla EV that didn't have a Tesla charging port. So for reasons I don't understand, the Ioniq 5s have it, but the Ioniq 6s don't.
I have different production lines or something. Yep.
And
I always
so
thought the Ioniq name was a good name for an electric vehicle. I just think that's a cool name for a line of electric cars, Ions and IQ and all that stuff. It's just.
So if you can't charge it at a Tesla place, are there lots of other places you could charge it, or you're compromised in that regard?
Boy, that, Alan, is a whole nother session, I think. The short thing to it is that from what I've read, the Tesla superchargers are far more reliable than the other charging systems. And not so long ago, in the previous administration, there was an episode where the energy secretary, driving some sort of non-Tesla EV, their advance person had found them a charging station, but when they got there, it didn't work. It was out of service.
Mm-hmm.
So the Tesla ones seem to be more reliable, and that's the reason why I didn't want to buy an EV that couldn't use those.
I don't think you're restricted to that. It's just that's more flexibility that you have, not less.
And I should add, Alan, just a second, that yesterday at the dealership, I actually found out how to use how to use an adapter to plug a regular charger thing into this. So I'll keep that in the trunk, and that means I'll be able to charge this car at pretty much any place. But the important one is to be able to access the Tesla ones that are charge much faster and seem to be more reliable.
If Tesla wanted to nudge their competitors out of the business, they could limit their charging stations to only Teslas, and that would shut out Hyundai from or any other competitor from using their site.
Well, they haven't chosen to do that, Alan. Instead, they've licensed their charging ports to almost all of the other EV manufacturers now.
Interesting. Okay.
More important than shutting somebody else out is it's a standard. Yeah, they're using what's become the standard. I think Tesla is, I believe. Well, give us a report, Jonathan.
Yeah, I certainly will.
Take notes and keep us up to speed on your adventures.
By the way, how much more did you pay for the electronic version than if you had a similar car that was on gas power?
That's another whole meeting, Alan.
Yeah, only part of which might be your business.
Notice I didn't ask how much you paid. I asked more you paid.
Yeah.
So let me say goodbye to all the YouTube viewers